So it looks like almost all of you have some kind of idea about what Bhagwat Gita is, because when I asked you, no one raised your hand if you weren't sure, right? So I'm going to speak based on this idea that you all have some awareness. So this verse, let's focus on the three main points of discussion for today. First is miserly weakness or perplexities of life. And the second one is surrender to Krishna. The third main point is teacher-disciple relationship. Okay. The first one is miserly weakness, lost composure. Now, not I, but Krishna has been kind of teaching Arjuna, and then Arjuna is sharing how he's feeling, looking at the army on the opposite side, that they are his own kith and kin, right? His own family members. So in this situation, of course, Arjuna is perplexed. But why is this word miser used here? What does miser mean in our ordinary language? Miser. Conjuse. Is that what you're saying, Prabhu? Yeah, conjuse, okay. Anyone that does not speak Hindi, miser, anything else? Helpless? So you're giving based on the context. Okay. That's it? Order? Sorry. Holding things. Okay. So these are some of the ideas that we all have, right? Okay, we'll talk more and we'll see what exactly miser in this context means. So Krishna has been telling Arjuna that this is not befitting for you because you are a Kshatriya. What is the dharma or the duty of Kshatriya? To fight. So here Arjuna has been challenged by the opposite army to fight, but then Arjuna does not want to fight. Why? Because he is looking at his own family members on the other side. And then Krishna is saying, how come? You've come to me and asked me to be your charioteer. Here I am. You all know Krishna, who Krishna is. At this time, for Arjuna, Krishna is his friend and cousin, relative, right? He does not know the whole story yet. It's only second chapter. So Krishna is saying, I am the charioteer. You had asked me to come, and here I am. And then finally you're saying you're not going to fight. What is this, right? Now, in the present world, there's so many wars going on. We've seen so many unpleasant things going on. We don't want that. Ideally, we don't want any wars. But here is a situation where the Lord Krishna, when the Lord of the universe, Lord Krishna is saying, fight. Now that can be a little bit concerning, right? Why is Krishna encouraging the fight, right? And when Arjuna felt that he is weak, he felt that is a miserly behavior. Now, why is that miserly behavior? Why is it miserly behavior? So that is the karpanya. That's the whole thing that we are talking about right now. Very good. We're close to that. So what, Rishabh, sorry. He has a twin, so I always get confused. So Rishabh is saying that originally Arjuna had this mind that he's all, set up for fighting, but then when he looks at his own family members on the other side, he's decided no, right? So this is kind of explaining as if it's miserly behavior. Now, we're talking about perplexities of life. Arjuna has this anxiety, right? He is not able to fight, so he is anxious. So what are some things, the reason why we have anxieties? Is there here anyone that does not have any anxiety? That is just happy and content with life. No anxieties, no unhappiness, no problems in life. So everyone here is happy. Of course, you're in Radha Madan Mohan's Ji's temple, obviously you're going to be happy. I'm talking about life outside temple. So everyone's happy here? No problems? No one wants to share, right? But we have problems. Everyone has problems and perplexities. Now these problems arise from what? Thinking? Yeah, in what way? Stress, yes. Stress and anxiety from what? Material world. So what's in the material world that we have these anxieties? Yeah, illusion, misery, these are all like philosophical, but what's, yes, expectations, right? We have expectations, desires. It could be anything. It could be, for example, when you are, a lot of you might fill up gas in your car. You just don't go to any gas station, right? You need to look at like, oh, is this within my budget? Is this a good quality of gasoline? So many things. We question, right? So there's other things like, power, strength, properties, money. These are all these things that kind of pull us and then give us this miserly weakness. And you can see in my, the second pointer there, like forest fires. Now forest fires, what happens in forest fire? Very unpleasant thing. And in BC, we see in every summer forest fires. So it's not just a spark, and then it's uncontrollable. So our anxieties are like that, one after another. Because of one anxiety, there's more. And then we have more desires, more expectations out of this life, out of other people, and then more problems arise. Now, what do we do in this case? What do we do in case of anxieties when situation, like Arjuna is in this situation, is like, what, surrender to Krishna, as simple as that. But do we do that, right? Do we do that? So Srila Prabhupada in one of the lectures is kind of funny, but kind of not funny as well. He's alluded to, how one's personality, how one's mind is. For example, there's a dog, right? Some of us have dogs. Some of you may have dogs at home. So the dog's nature is what? How does it show affection? No one? By licking, right? Yeah. And so Prabhupada was saying, if you give like a king's costume to a dog, what is the dog going to do? Is he going to pretend like a king, or is he going to still, right? So that, yeah, because that's the dog's nature. But in human life, we got something called intelligence, right? Not every human, every living creature has that. So Srila Prabhupada said this human life is the most valuable asset for the living entity. So one who does not utilize this opportunity is a miser. That is the main point of this miserly weakness. So as all, we have this opportunity, human life. We've done some great things in our past lives, so our karma, good karma, has brought us to this human life, and this is the time that we need to use our intelligence to question, to go on the right path, to overcome these anxieties. Now we've talked a little bit about where these anxieties are coming from. In chapter 7, Srila Prabhupada explains Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, so false identity. Now someone may ask, we have so many identities, we have so many things, still how can we not be attached to it? How can we not be attached? Any ideas? That's a good way, thinking that everything is not permanent, temporary. Any other points? His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami is a very, very advanced devotee and disciple of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Once said, a devotee should have an attitude of gratitude. I try to remember that, to meditate. I meditate upon that. Whenever I feel like, I have this pride or anger or anything, I try to calm down myself and think about what Bhakti Tirtha Swami said. Attitude of gratitude. That's one thing that we can always remember. Now, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, we don't have much time, so I didn't read the purport, but in the purport, Prabhupada says, on the other hand is Brahmana, Kripana and Brahmana. So Kripana, we were talking about how they usually don't think about being, satisfied or happy and gratitude. Brahmana is the one who's intelligent enough to think and to utilize the mind to serve or to solve the problems of life. So the next part. So in this verse, the first part was how Arjuna is saying, Karpanya dosho, I am full of perplexity and anxious. Now I am surrendered to you. So it's been some time that they were talking, and then Arjuna decided there's nothing he can do. He cannot think. So he has surrendered. Someone mentioned about surrendering here. So that's the part. So who is he surrendering to? The teacher. Because he has clearly said, I am your disciple. This is a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 23. I will read the translation. In the beginning, there must be faith. Then one becomes interested in associating with pure devotees. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. So this is a process of how one can surrender and become a devotee. Thus, one is free from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Therefore, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of sadhana bhakti, the execution of devotional service according to the regulative principles. Gradually, emotions intensify, and finally, there is an awakening of love. This is the gradual development of love of Godhead for the devotee interested in Krishna consciousness. So we're all here today. On a Sunday evening, you could have done many other things like visit somewhere else, go to a movie, or do something else, right? But you chose to come to temple. I know some of you live far away and you still drove. So this is your first step to overcome that other desire that you had, but then come and focus on Krishna. So which is helping your mind, body, and soul, right? So here Arjuna is realizing that although he's Kshatriya, now he slowly realizes that Krishna is the only one who can solve his problem. So he said, you are my teacher, you are the only one who is going to solve my problem. Now, Arjuna has always been associated with Krishna. That's why he got the special mercy. He got the special intelligence, special opportunity to realize that Krishna is the ultimate, right? That's why he surrendered. Now, there's one, sorry, got distracted. Yeah, this one. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur explains about how one surrendered, how devotees act once they surrender. So it is mentioned, one should desire to become like a dog in strictly following the devotee. Sorry for giving another example about the dog. Is there anyone here who are dog lovers or who have dogs as their pets? Okay, no offense, okay, it's fine. That just came, the example just came while I was preparing for the class. So you can imagine, a dog is very trustworthy, and it's always, making sure that the master or the owner or whoever, the dog's friend, is doing well and, protecting them, right? This reminds me one time, a devotee shared with me another exalted sannyasa in our tradition, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. He was in the car and he got a phone call. And he was very busy, I believe he was chanting or something, and then he got a call and he was not very interested in talking over the phone. But then on the other side, it was his god brother, so another of Srila Prabhupada disciple. So as soon as this Maharaj came to know that there's another devotee on the call, he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Maharaj. I'm your dog. How can I help you?" So you can imagine this Maharaj that I'm talking to you about, this devotee that I'm talking to you about, is an American citizen who struggled to give up the American citizenship and live in India. So here we are, most of us are from another country and trying to live in a Western country. But Jayapataka Swami, he's a stalwart devotee, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada from maybe 50 years or something, more than 50 years. And he's now in India, based in Mayapur. So you can imagine us, we can try and look at those examples. The next point is, so there were 3 different points. I will come back to this if we have time. The teacher-disciple relationship. How many of your students here? Students of any kind? Just a few. Okay, there's children that go, school-age children, and anyone in college? College? One? Just one college student today? Do you have exams or something? It's November, right? I don't know. When I was in college, I used to have papers, but the exams are usually in December. Anyway, when you are a student, what are you looking for in a teacher? What exactly are you looking for? Or some of you, actually most of you have been in college some point, right? So what is something that you're looking for when you go to a college, or when you're looking for a good professor, or when you're choosing your courses in college? What are you looking for? What's something that you look for? You're not in college yet, but I can still take your answer. Who you can believe? Okay, good point, who you can believe. Anyone that's taken college courses, what are some things in your mind? Clear the exam without taking the test? Okay, that's a shortcut. Please, shortcuts not going to help you. No, you got to work hard in order to get through the college. So nobody went to college here? No one wants to talk. Who is a kind person? Okay. Guidance, good. Knowledge, who gives knowledge? Okay. Trust, yeah, you have all these things in front of you. See, in material education, we do not look for that. The main reason we go to college is to get a job. Ultimately, that's what it is, right? But spiritual education is beyond that. Material education gives you many things, but spiritual education gives you more than just the mere degree. And it's important. I'm not saying that it's not important. I went to college. I have 2 master's degrees, but I'm not undermining that education. But without spiritual education, you may not have that fulfillment. This is my point. So you can see Krishna is showing that care for Arjuna. Don't we see that? At this point, Arjuna only knows Krishna as a friend, as a devotee, as a cousin. But chapter 11, universal form, Krishna does not show his universal form to anyone, to everyone, right? Very rare. So here you see that Krishna cares for Arjuna. Krishna is in that situation, perplexed whether to fight or not. But this is a very, very important war. So all the atrocities committed by the Kauravas can be stopped. So Krishna is showing care. And you can see the trust here. Between the disciple and the teacher, you can see on both sides there is trust. And there's compassion. Our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada is so compassionate. Without Srila Prabhupada's mercy or all the sacrifices, this temple would not have been here. When he was, at an advanced age, he traveled from India to the West, and he has suffered a couple of heart attacks as well. And he had 40 rupees in his purse, just few books of Bhagavatam. That's it. And then what happened? Because he showed compassion to all the living entities. He could have just stayed in India, be comfortable, but he came out of comfort zone in order to protect this world, especially at that time in the 60s. Anyone who's from the West here? Not many today. You all are born later, so you're from the West, but you're born later. But anyone who's born, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know how it was in those days. It was not easy, right? There were a lot of problems. Young people had no idea, just like Arjuna, they were perplexed, had no idea what to do, what are the right choices that they can make. And Srila Prabhupada came and gave this knowledge. Even today in New York City, where the first temple was established, you can see, there's a park where Prabhupada was sitting there and chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So many people got attracted to it, and then they gave up all these bad vices and then started chanting and become devotees. So empathy and compassion is what a guru or a spiritual teacher shows towards their disciples. I'll go back to, since we have a couple of minutes. So Arjuna's, we've seen these 3 points, and then in between it was surrendering to Krishna. Now when someone surrenders to Krishna, what are they? They are devotees of Krishna. Now amongst devotees, how do we know? What is devotee relationship? How does it work? These are the 6 loving exchanges that Srila Rupa Goswami explained. Giving charity to the devotees, that's number 1. And then second one, accepting from the devotees whatever they may offer in return. Opening one's mind to the devotees, inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord, honoring prasada or the spiritual food given by the devotees, feeding the devotees with prasada or sanctified food, prasadam. Right? These are some 6 ways that we all as devotees can serve each other. So Shri Krishna has mentioned many times in Bhagwat Gita, dasanudasa. This means Krishna's saying, do not come to me directly. I cannot help you. But come to me through my disciple, my devotee. Now, who is Krishna's devotee that we all can go to? Our spiritual teacher, right? And then we have, of course, Srila Prabhupada's books are all here, but in ISKCON, or Hare Krishna movement, as we are known, there's so many wonderful teachers who are well educated, who have compassion, who have, this love. Srila Prabhupada says this love is not an ordinary love. What is the difference between ordinary love and this love between Shishya and Guru, or disciple and teacher? Anyone knows? It's eternal, but what is that factor? Let's see if anyone can guess. Unconditional. Thank you so much. There is nothing, no expectation in return. That is what a pure love is. Prabhupada said somewhere like, no, this love is pure love. Pure love means nothing in return. Nobody is expecting anything in return. There's another, it just reminds me, another, one of us, stalwart devotees, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, because of whom this temple is also standing here. Maharaj left this planet, but if any of his disciples are here, they can say also, they can correct me if I'm wrong. When he left this body, left the planet, what did he have? What did Maharaj have? What did he leave behind? Nobody? Deities of Krishna, his own deities. This is what he left. And he has thousands of rich disciples everywhere, all over the world. He could have had a bank balance, he could have had a big, luxury car or whatever, right? But all he left is the deities of Krishna, and he wrote in his will where the deities should be, how the deities should be worshipped, where the deities should go. So a couple of deities are in Russia. You can imagine. These were in Delhi, but now they're in Russia. So a guru or a devotee will never expect anything from anyone. So here Krishna is also not expecting anything. Krishna is showing kindness to Arjuna. Okay? The last part, again, I'll just mention this, that way we are kind of have an idea what we were discussing about. The 3 main points we discussed today was perplexities of life, soul surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna as a teacher or teacher disciple relationship. Anyone has any questions? So this is Srila Prabhupada. Hopefully the audio will work. You can just hear.